I recently tried out one of the very best trading bots available for the OTC market, and now I'm going to show you exactly what happened. So you'll be able to achieve the same result and activate this very bot after watching this video. So please watch carefully so you don't miss any important details, but for now I'm going to get started. The very first thing, of course, is to choose a decent currency pair. Next, I'll show you how to do this, and for example, I'm choosing the euro currency pair. The dollar OTC pair looks pretty good. I get a decent buy signal, and now I immediately open a buy trade for $350 at 35% from my deposit. And look, here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to pay attention to the percentages that the robot gives out. This is very important, meaning the actual percentage itself. The higher the percentage, the safer the trade will be accordingly. We'll talk about the other parameters later, but the main thing, at a minimum, is the signal, which direction we open the trade, and what percentage we have for a successful entry into the trade. If we pay close attention to all these parameters and follow the instructions correctly, then we will really be able to make money. We are trading on UTs, and I recommend working with 1-minute trades. It's fast enough and a comfortable time frame for the UTS market. So let's wait. Let's wait until the trade closes. This trade closes in profit and brings in $320, so now it's already won $320. Accordingly, with my balance, I can open the next trade for $600, and that will be approximately zero. And even with the same 35 patients, that's $465. That's exactly the amount I'll use to open the next trade. Now, let's talk about how to choose the right currency pair to make a profit. But before that, let me remind you that you can activate this robot right now using the link in the description. Go ahead and activate this robot right now, and you'll be able to trade with it on the OTC market. And not just that, if you have any questions, just write to our support account. Our team there will help you and answer all your questions. The link, just in case, is provided. I'll leave the support account and the bot link in the description, and I'll also repeat them in the pinned comment. Next, I select the currency pair, Australian dollar, Swiss franc, then go back to the booster bot, choose this currency pair and set the trade duration. 1 minute. And now let's talk about how to choose the specific currency pair that we can actually make money on. Look, first of all, the currency pair should have a clear movement. What does that mean? The currency pair should be moving either upward or downward, or it might even have a pattern where, for example, it was going up and then suddenly started going down. But under no circumstances should it have some kind of unclear behavior where we have no idea what's happening with the currency pair. So if you see that there is a good upward movement, you can work with it. If there isn't, then it's better to skip that currency pair. Plus, the booster bot will always let you know when it's really worth skipping a currency pair. And at the very least, it will give you a low percentage for a successful trade entry, so you'll always be in the loop. Accordingly, you need to choose the currency pair that you actually understand. Even when trading with the bot, this still matters a lot. And as you can see, the second trade with the bot closes with a profit of $427, and that's already 35%, which is $612. That's exactly the amount I'll use to open the next trade. For the next currency pair, I choose the euro, Swiss franc. Here, there's a fairly safe sideways movement, so I select this currency pair in the booster bot and set the trade duration to 1 minute. Now let's talk about the other percentages and their purposes. I'm getting a buy signal. I open my trade, and let's break down what the other values mean. Probability of reversal. This means that at a certain point, the price may do the following. In other words, it will move in one direction and then suddenly reverse at some point. This means that the booster bot effectively sees either a significant potential level or a potentially very large buyer or seller who could potentially reverse the price for us. Accordingly, if the percentage here is above 40, we absolutely do not enter into these particular trades, because that would be a rather risky trade. Next, in the following trade, I'll show you what volatility is responsible for. By the way, volatility is very high right now, and that's very good indeed for our current ongoing trade. Because our percentages are high, the reversal percentages are low, and volatility is high. So for us, that's a very good sign. And as you can see, at one point there were about 50 points. And indeed, I made $480. The balance is already at $2,200. So if I open my trade for $1,200, I'm not risking anything. I'll even be $40 in profit. Now let's look at some examples that should be skipped. If you see a currency pair, let's try to find one now. Well, for example, the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar. So if you see a currency pair that's constantly going up without any correction, without anything else, in other words, such an impulsive rise, we skip it. That kind of currency pair doesn't suit us. If the pair, for example, was rising like this, meaning it was making some corrections and not growing so aggressively, then we could take it. Accordingly, we skip such a currency pair. Let's look at some more examples of what should be skipped. For instance, the British pound to the dollar. So we can clearly see that here the movement isn't structured. Yes, it's a downward movement, but there was a very sharp and sudden drop. Then some growth, then again a drop, then growth again, another drop, another rise, so there's no structure here at all. So we also skip such a currency pair. In fact, the choice of a currency pair depends on many factors. And accordingly, if you choose the right currency pair, that's already 50% of the success of the trade. For example, there was a good drop, then a sharp rise, then a sharp fall again. I also skip such a pair and move on to the next currency pair. Let's choose the euro dollar. Here, there's quite a pronounced sideways movement, so it's possible to try trading on this currency pair. Let's see what the booster bot tells us quickly. The bot gives a sell signal, so I open this trade for a sale. Once again, I remind you that you can get this robot right now via the link. In the description, it also works effectively on OTC. If something doesn't work out, you'll also find a link in the description and in the pinned comment to our manager's account, where you can ask any question regarding trading, and also any questions about this robot. An excellent trade brings me $100, and I can open the next trade for $2,300 already. And the only thing I'm risking is my time, which I spent on increasing this deposit. In other words, I'm no longer risking my main deposit. By the way, I recommend you do the same. Specifically, increase your main balance and then work only with the money you've earned, and don't touch your main balance. That will simply be your backup deposit. I'm choosing the currency pair Australian dollar, Swiss franc. Here too, we have a good sideways movement. So I just select it in the booster bot, and this will probably be the actual final trade. So as you can see, it's not that hard to work on the OTC market, especially with the booster bot. Yes, this is intra-exchange trading, meaning we are only working with other traders on the pocket option platform. Traders from other exchanges essentially have different quotes on their own exchanges. That's why on weekends and also at night, specifically European time when all the markets are closed, it's very convenient to trade on OTC. Accordingly, if you come home after work, activate the work boost, you don't have to think about how to do the analysis. The machine does the analysis for you, and then you just open the trade in the right direction. You can take a really decent profit, and you absolutely don't have to take big, significant risks. You certainly don't have to open trades for a full 35%. You can easily start with at least 5 or even 10%, and that will be quite enough too. And the final trade closes in profit and brings me $2,100. In this way, I increased my deposit 5 times, or actually almost 5.5 times. So I opened several trades on the Odessa market, and accordingly, their booster bot calculated everything perfectly. Now you know how to work with all these parameters that are available in BoosterBot. So right now, go ahead and activate this trading machine if you really want to make money on OTC. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask our dedicated managers. They will be more than happy to assist you and answer all your inquiries. With that, I'll say goodbye for now and see you in the next video.